I don't know why we have a single interest in Israel. They're toxic. We should get rid of them as a so-called ally and never deal with them again. That would be the best case scenario for America.
They're up to no good. We obliterated the Iranian nuclear facilities. We did not obliterate Iran's desire to have a nuclear weapon. The regime hadn't changed at all. They still want to kill all the Jews, consider America the great Satan, and purify Islam. Are they regenerating their nuclear capability? Are they building more ballistic missiles that could hurt Europe and Israel? I don't know, but there's evidence that suggests they are.
Is the US gearing up to enter yet another war with Iran on behalf of Israel? Well, it seems to be what Lindsey Graham and Netanyahu want. So before we get into the details, Cenk, your 2 cents. What should people be worried about?
Yeah, so Israel's definitely going back in. And now they say, as you're gonna hear from Jordan, that, well, just knocking out their nukes is not enough. We have to basically destroy everything they have and ever possess. We don't feel safe if any other person could ever defend themselves against us. Ever, right? So that's normal. That's Israel destroying all of its enemies at all times, right? A warmonger imperial government in the middle of the Middle East causing nothing but endless war. But on top, as always, they also want us to pay for it and us to do the bombing. And Netanyahu's coming back to the White House to slap Trump around and go, hey boy, I told you to attack Iran. Shut up and do it again, okay? And let's see if Trump listens to daddy or not. Find out the facts first.
According to a recent report from NBC News, Israeli officials have grown increasingly concerned that Iran is expanding production of its ballistic missile program, which was damaged by Israeli military strikes earlier this year, and are preparing to brief President Donald Trump about options for attacking it again, according to a person with direct knowledge of the plans and some 4 former US officials briefed on those plans. Israeli officials are also concerned that Iran is reconstituting nuclear enrichment sites the US bombed in June, the sources said. But they added the officials view Iran's efforts to rebuild facilities where they produce the ballistic missiles and to repair its critical air defense systems as more immediate concerns. According to these sources, Iran's production of ballistic missiles could increase to 3,000 per year. However, this is a slow process, according to Israeli sources that spoke with Axios, as they're still recovering from the previous strikes. Israeli sources told Axios that if Israeli intelligence sees early signs of a renewed buildup of Iran's missile capabilities with more motivation than the Iranians had since the 12-day war in June. The Iranians started taking steps to rebuild their forces, but haven't returned to the level they were at before the war, Israeli sources said. They also said that at the end of the war with Iran, Iran was left with 1,500 missiles, down from 3,000 it had before, with 200 launchers out of the 400 it had before. According to one former Israeli official, there is no real question after the last conflict that we can gain aerial superiority and can do far more damage to Iran than Iran can do to Israel. But the threat of the missiles is very real, and we weren't able to prevent them all last time. But how big is that threat, really? Well, according to Joseph Rogers, the author of a report on Iran's development of nuclear weapons, the top line is that the Iranian nuclear program appears to be in limbo without clear leadership guidance. We see some activity building new nuclear facilities nearby the facilities that the US destroyed. And simultaneously, it appears that the 3 facilities the US struck there have been basically no attempts to rehabilitate whatsoever. And an American source told Axios that US intelligence currently has no indication an Iranian attack is imminent. And other sources said the biggest risk is a war between Israel and Iran will break as a result of a miscalculation, with each side thinking the other plans to attack and try to preempt it. And it seems that's where Bibi's mindset is at right now. It was announced last week that President Trump and Netanyahu are set to meet at Mar-a-Lago before the year ends. At that meeting, the sources said, Netanyahu is expected to make the case to Trump that Iran's expansion of its ballistic missile program poses a threat that could necessitate swift action. They said part of his argument is expected to be that Iran's actions present perils not only to Israel, but also to the broader region, including US interests, and present Trump with options for the US to join or assist in any new military operations. Now, the timing of this is interesting because Trump had recently announced the potential of reopening talks with Iran. He said Iran can try to rebuild its ballistic missile program, but it's going to take them a long time to come back. But if they do want to come back without a deal, then we're going to obliterate that one too, Trump said. You know, we can knock out their missiles very quickly. We have great power. And Iran has expressed interest in resuming talks. So we'll have to wait and see what actually comes out of the meeting between Trump and Netanyahu. But we do know what Lindsey Graham is ultimately hoping for.
If there's credible evidence that Iran is going back into the enrichment business at other sites, that they're trying to build more ballistic missiles to terrorize Israel and maybe Europe, that we hit them before they can do that. The one thing I've learned about radical Islam, the only language it understands is force.
Cenk, there's a lot here. I'm curious what you make of it. And also, what has Lindsey Graham ever done in recent years to put South Carolina voters first?
Yeah, no, absolutely nothing, of course. He couldn't care less about his voters. He's obsessed with Israel and starting wars and let's go kill people and make profits and at their expense. He's one of the most disgusting people I've covered in politics. So did you notice what he said at the end there? I love that. That's classic neocon Israel first ideology. These Muslim Iranians are the worst people ever. They might do something at some point, so we should hit them first. Strike and attack and kill and murder them. Because the only language they understand is violence and force. No, brother, that's you. You're describing yourself. Like literally in the same sentence. And the same goes for back in the day, John McCain and Joe Lieberman and all of them. Almost the entire government is neocons. Let's do massive violence. Let's put American lives in jeopardy, spend trillions of American dollars, kill, attack anyone who's even the slightest threat, who even looked at Israel slightly awkwardly. Did you look at Israel that way? Attack, murder, right? That's Lindsey Graham. He's a total bought bitch of a different government. And by the way, now people on the right know that just as much as people on the left. At least in the online community, younger people, etc. I know the senior citizens are still on cable news. And they're like, we heard Israel's our special ally and my grandson should die for them. Here's all my savings, Israel, please. The Fox News and MSNBC agree. We should kiss Israel's ass. Other than that, just, guys, if you see someone advocating for Israel these days, they're either biased, and I get that I actually excuse a lot more, or they're literally paid to like grovel at the feet of Israel. It's the most disgusting, saddest thing I've ever seen. So, okay, let's go to the heart of this. First of all, I'm gonna say something that people will find outrageous in traditional media and politics. So what if Iran is a threat to Israel? I mean, I don't think they are, but so what if they were? How dare you? It is our moral responsibility to murder anyone who Israel considers a threat. No, it's not. Israel is the aggressor. Israel keeps attacking Iran. Israel has bombed their capital. Israel has killed their civilian scientists and their children. Israel has bombed Iran over and over and over again. And so why do I have to protect the aggressor? Why do I have to help the aggressor commit more offensive wars and destroy their neighbors? And if their neighbors attack back after Israel has attacked them, well, that's not my responsibility at all. Here's how you could cure that, Israel. Stop attacking every single one of your neighbors. There, I solved it for you. It's not my responsibility when you start the war, okay? We don't have any responsibility to Russia. Oh yeah, but the Ukrainians might hurt some Russians. And, or fill in any other blanks. The Saudis, when they attacked Yemen, did we have a responsibility to defend Saudi Arabia? No, they started the war. By the way, they also starved people in Yemen, just like Israel did in Gaza. No, we don't have any moral responsibility to warmongers who'd like to start wars and expand their empires, and the Saudis wanted to control over Yemen. And so now that leads us to the very core of the issue. Now, Israel says, as Jordan partly explained to you guys, you have 4 options, they say. One is Israel does it by itself. The other is Israel does it with limited American action. Third is joint operation. Fourth is America does it on its own. We laugh our asses off at you, right? And so, okay, if that's our 4 options, I'll take option number 1. Israel, F off, do whatever the hell you want. I mean, I don't want it. I think attacking Iran's a terrible idea, but I'm not the boss of Israel, okay? We're American voters. And as Americans, we go, if you would like to unfairly attack another country for no damn reason, that's kind of your business, brother. That ain't my business at all. And you want me to do it for you? No. I have no interest in your expansion and your greater Israel and all of that. And now, by the way, the reason why later in the show we go back to MAGA civil war is because now people on the right are just saying it. Like Ben Shapiro comes out and gives a speech, you all have to cancel everyone I am opposed to. How dare you even talk to anyone who doesn't kiss Israel's ass, right? And Steve Bannon came out. I'm no fan of Steve Bannon, that's for sure. But he was one of many voices, and he said, this isn't about protecting Israel. In front of all of TPUSA, he said, this is about their expansion to form greater Israel. And we have no obligation to help them expand their empire. So now the right and the left completely and utterly agree. The only people left are the crooks in Washington who are all Israel first. The rest of the country's gone. God, we don't want to fight another war for Israel. And don't tell me it's not for Israel. Israel's literally saying, you better do it for me. You better pay for it, and you better do the bombing, and Netanyahu's gonna come and to threaten Trump personally. Again, I don't know what he's got on Trump, but every one of those visits works. Trump for a while, when Netanyahu leaves, goes, oh, I might stand up to Israel. I don't know if I'm gonna go in again. And then Netanyahu comes and grabs his ear and goes, get into my office, and they go into the Oval Office. And then after they come out of the meeting, Trump's like, oh yeah, I'm good, I got my pager, I'm good. Of course, yes sir, of course sir, I will, please, I'm so sorry. I will attack anyone you like, sir. Okay, so why are they so gung-ho on attacking Iran again? After even they agreed that the nukes there were no nukes. The nuclear facilities that were beginning to enrich uranium have been wiped out. So number one, they say ballistic missiles are a threat to us, but everyone has ballistic missiles. So what, no other country is allowed to have any weapons at all, otherwise Israel's gonna attack you. Soon it'll be like, well, Australia said that Palestine should be a state, and the Irish said it, and they have ballistic missiles. America, you must destroy Belfast for me, and Sydney, and anyone who dares to have ballistic missiles that hasn't groveled at Israel's feet. No, brother, you don't have that right. You don't have the right to destroy every country that has ballistic missiles. That's insanity. That's not a thing that exists other than the absurd, grotesque entitlement of the Israelis. And finally, yes, a couple of missiles got through in Iron Dome. They're like, we're not invincible. We can't just slaughter all of the Muslims. We might lose 1 or 2 Israeli lives. I mean, hundreds of thousands of dead Muslims don't count at all, but 1 or 2 Israeli lives. America, snap to attention, America. Come on, give me the money, give me the money. Give me the war, give me the bombs, attack Iran right now. And that's what Israel's doing. They're slapping us around, bossing us around, and when they come, Trump will probably fold. And if you don't know, they're working on a memorandum of understanding that is going to give Israel a 20-year guarantee that we are going to fund them $4 to $5 billion a year. So that is an $80 to $100 billion that the Israelis in their infinite arrogance say we owe them. Jordan, I've never understood why we owe Israel anything. To me, by my accounting, they owe us over $300 billion on just the money we gave them, let alone the trillions of dollars we wasted attacking all their enemies. So I don't know. I don't know if you think what Trump's gonna do. Is he gonna be their dog again? And I don't know why we have a single interest in Israel. They're toxic. We should get rid of them as a so-called ally and never deal with them again. That would be the best case scenario for America.
Yeah, it routinely puts the United States in difficult and impossible situations, maintaining that alliance. It doesn't really, I mean, I guess from a military perspective, it might benefit the US because it's an easy point of entry into that region where we have waged forever war for decades. If this is something that Trump, the guy who so desperately wants the Nobel Peace Prize, if he really truly did care about no new wars, I think his behavior, even in just this first year, reflects the fact that he isn't really passionate about not starting wars. It's just a talking point. But that would be something I think a large portion of this country would celebrate. It is a drain on our resources. We are routinely told we can't have universal health care in the States because it's too expensive. Every other developed country has it. But never do we hear, Cenk, talk around affordability or how we might finance billions and billions and billions of dollars going to Israel for military aid, or the costs that we sink into our own military and weapons purchases and missiles and whatnot to wage wars on behalf of Israel. All of that money would be better spent here. I think you could find a good portion of this country who, when you calmly, rationally, whatever, make that point to them, it'll resonate with the average American. Yeah, sure, I want problems domestically solved first. And this is not just a Trump or a Republican problem. This is a Democrat, this is a uniparty problem for sure. But the idea that Iran also, my final point is just that the idea that Iran is on the precipice of yet again having a nuclear weapon is laughable when you look at Netanyahu's comments from the past 15 years, Cenk. Every time Netanyahu would speak at the UN or would focus on Iran again for that week, whatever, he routinely would make these outrageous, demonstrably false claims about their time frame until they obtained a nuclear weapon. Never once did we ever see any evidence that they were enriching uranium to weapons grade. But we were told time and time and time again that we had to strike Iran because they were just days or weeks or hours or minutes away from having a nuclear weapon. And we never saw one. They never had one. Now again, they're building toward one. And again, he wants to bomb Iran. That's all he wants. That's all he's ever wanted. He's willing to lie about it then. He's willing to lie about it now. I don't trust these Israeli sources who say they are working toward a nuclear site. I mean, possibly show some evidence. At the very least, they're probably, probably for me at the very most, they're doing it for energy. Because for them, they see it as a reliable source of energy to power their country. But if we saw any evidence that they were enriching uranium to weapons grade, then that would be a different conversation. But we haven't seen that. It's just Netanyahu's claims.
Okay, so first of all, Iran's trying to get into a nuclear treaty with us again. So they have actually reached out to us. That's another thing that's upsetting the Israelis, because they're saying, well, if you guys are in a treaty, well, we can't have regime change. And so this isn't about their missiles, guys. It's mainly about, yeah, a couple got through, they're a little worried about that, but it's mainly about regime change. Why? What a lot of you might not know is a lot of the governments in the Middle East, the Arab Muslim governments, are totally subservient to Israel. Their rulers are. So they realized, hey, if we don't do exactly as Israel tells us, Israel either will murder us themselves or will get America to murder us. So we're gonna betray our own citizens. They're dictators anyway. So they're like, we'll work with Israel. And I know people from the Middle East that say that in certain countries, like Egypt is a good example, if you say anything against Israel, the Egyptian secret police come and get you. And they take you from your house, et cetera, okay? So what they want is Iran to be neutered as well and to be another lapdog for them. And they want to impose Israel-friendly puppet regimes throughout the Middle East that just say, of course, sir, take our people's land, sir. No, we'll never fight back, sir. You're a demigod, sir. So that's what they want. And that's why they're unsatisfied. I mean, we took out the nuclear facilities. What else do you want? Iran says they'll get back into a treaty and give us all the uranium. What else do you want? It was never about that. It was about subservience and obedience. Since the Iranian leaders will not submit to the Israeli leaders, they must be murdered and they must be replaced with Israel-friendly puppets. So that's the game that's being played. A lot of you, of course, you don't know the Middle East, so how do you know that Jordan and Egypt and Saudi Arabia have leaders that are totally work for Israel and are dogs of Israel, right? But they are. And you can go ask anybody that lives in those countries and they'll tell you personal stories. Okay, the last two things is, yeah, Jordan, you're absolutely right about Netanyahu for decades coming, Iran, why you keep, like this is 15, 20 years before they even had the ability to fake a nuclear threat, right? Why was he saying nuclear back when Iran could barely figure out a slingshot, right? Because regime change. The Iranian regime is not friendly to Israel. In other words, is not controlled by Israel. So we must murder their leaders and put in leaders that will bow to Israel. And that's what they've done in almost all their neighboring countries. So lastly, and so if you've seen the video, there's a video from Netanyahu around 90s, I think, where he's talking inside a house in, I believe in Israel. And they ask him about the Americans and he says, oh, there's two of these videos. One of them, he says, oh, the Americans, they're no problem at all. Don't worry about the Americans, they're super easy to control. We'll be able to control them no matter what we want. He said it and he's been doing it. And I mean, it's an incredible shame on our disgusting politicians that they serve that man, okay? And finally, we don't have the money, we're borrowing it. So if we give the Israelis $100 billion now, we'd have to borrow, I mean, assume a super low interest rate of 5%. We'd have to borrow an extra $5 billion a year in interest to pay for the $100 billion. And that accumulates every year. So far, we've given them inflation adjusted over $300 billion. That's arguably, again, super conservative rate, 15 billion in interest alone that we're paying to borrow the money to give to Israel. I mean, you really have to be the world's biggest suckers to do that. And Israel's not a little baby country. Oh, goo goo gaga, I don't know how to defend myself. It has nukes, it has one of the top economies in the world, it has single payer healthcare, it has free college, it has Iron Dome, it has the best military in the Middle East. Why are we goo goo gagaing one of the best developed militaries in the world? You're a grown-up country. Go on your own already and find out what life is like without Big Daddy paying all your goddamn bills. So Israel's a scourge upon this country. I can't wait to free America from it. But for now, Netanyahu will come over and slap Trump around, and then Trump will probably make us do whatever the Israelis want. That has been the 100% unbreakable pattern through Republican and Democratic administrations my whole life. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.